be dead than living horribly. To be dead is to be beyond the reach of pain and consciousness of wrong. But a living woman bullied from joy to sorrow, pity her. For she is lost to her old self, and every moment of her life is raw with knowledge of her loss. Her life is like a wound that cannot heal. Your dead daughter is like an unborn child. Polyxena is dead, knowing nothing of the man that killed her or of his lust for her. It is well for any woman to consider the nature of a man's lust. I did. I noted and considered why men praise women. Aware of the reasons for their praise, I did everything to please my man, Hector. I realized that always, whatever a woman's motives may be, straight or twisted, dark or in the light, innocent or guilty, wrong or right, to try her hand with another man puts her immediately in a dubious light. So I stayed at home and walked in my own garden. When Hector came to me, he found me bright and peaceful. I gave him what his heart desired, hearing always what he had to say. I became a gifted listener, patient, sympathetic. In my husband's presence, I had a quiet tongue and a pleasant face. I understood him, I understood myself, and so I created a fair, effective way of living. I knew when to insist and when to obey. I never resorted to any evil guile. I created a life with my own deliberate style. I created the space in which his vanity might move like a beautiful, confident cat. I created peace, and then this peace became my enemy, the Greek. Achilles' son, hearing of my peace, chose me. Now I must serve the killer of my husband. I must lie in the bed of my husband's murderer. But how shall I serve such a man? Shall I forget my Hector's handsome face and open up my heart to this new master? Shall I betray the dead whom I was glad to serve? And how shall I feel when I am fucked by his murderer in that murderer's bed? And if in his bed I shrink from the embrace of this fresh lover, will he beat me, cripple me, strike me dead in rage? After all, I'm only a slave. And if I'm a slave, shall I think like a slave? What does that mean? Thinking like a slave? Men who have studied their own lust will tell you that a single night in a man's arms will tame the wildest woman. Shame. My thoughts begin to shame me. And you are dead, Hector! Dead as yesterday's love, and I must be a slave and take my chances on the sea and be the kind of woman that a man will say I have to be. And yet I clearly see that as my body is a slave, an untouched portion of my mind is free. To be a slave and free at once, how can this be? I am a woman. Men will put me on the sea. Yet no matter where I am, I still must think of me.